IBM Data Power Operations Dashboard, also known as DPOD, is IBM's premier tool for monitoring and management of IBM data power gateways. DPOD is specifically designed for both standalone data power gateways running multi-protocol gateways and web service proxies, as well as data power API gateways which are part of API Connect solution. Whether you are using containerized gateways, virtual gateways, or physical gateways at any scale, DPOD uses data power-specific knowledge to provide a central visibility across all your data power gateways, advanced troubleshooting of latency issues and errors, reports, alerts, and gateway management features such as backups and firmware upgrades. DPOD provides many dashboards, such as the Recent Activity Dashboard, which provides a high-level overview of the API activity across all the data power gateways, at near real-time. Use the dashboards to focus on the issue you need to investigate, before drilling down to the transactional data for further analysis. The System Health Dashboard provides a high-level overview of the health of the gateways, mainly from a resource's point of view, such as CPU and memory. Use the Analyze link to open the relevant dashboard and inspect the data that DPOD used to determine the gateway's health. DPOD also provides dashboards to investigate latency, compare versions of APIs, and even compare the behavior of API assembly policies between different versions of the same API. DPOD also detects restarts of devices or domains by analyzing the data power audit logs. And of course, displays response codes, consumers' activity, and many more dashboards. You can switch from the APIC view to the gateway view to view a completely different set of dashboards tailored for data power standalone services such as service activity, latency, active probes, MQ overview, expired certificates, and more. Finally, custom dashboards in expert mode allow you to create your own dashboards. The transactions page displays all the transactions that were processed by the data power gateways. Use it to drill down to a specific transaction for further analysis. For each transaction, DPOD displays information about its execution, definition, and the consumer. Use the latency diagram under Transaction Analysis to quickly determine where time is spent during the API invocation, and use the execution flow to inspect each policy that was executed as part of this specific invocation. For each policy, DPOD will display additional details, including backend URLs, response codes, latency, and more. If you enable the API Connect debug probe, DPOD will even be able to display the request, the response, and the headers for invoke policies, or inputs and outputs for map policies. Under raw messages, you can find all the log messages that were collected for this transaction, including custom messages that you may generate during the API execution. Correlated Transactions tab will show all the transactions that share the same global transaction ID, so in case the API is invoking another API or another data power standalone service, you can drill down and further investigate them. DPOD is the only tool that can display this level of details for both API invocations as well as standalone services transactions. To troubleshoot errors in DPOD, first focus on the errors using the dashboards and then drill down to individual transactions. DPOD provides a summary of the errors under the Error Analysis section, and from the execution flow you can see which step failed. DPOD can even detect invocations that were rejected due to invalid requests, authorization errors, and even SSL handshake errors and wrong URLs, which is a unique feature of DPOD. In addition to receiving transactional data, DPOD samples the configuration of the data power gateways, looking for configuration issues and monitoring configuration changes over time. Use the Failed Objects page to inspect all the objects within the data power gateway configuration that are enabled but currently have an operational state of down. And for data power standalone services, use the Service Configuration Changes page to inspect changes over time to services configuration, or use the DevOps Services portal for updating WSDL, disable services, enable services, and import new versions for existing services. Use the Reports module to configure and schedule reports and receive aggregated data in Excel spreadsheets, and the Alerts module to configure alerts for any condition on the collected data. For example, you may get alerted when an API or a service is experiencing many errors. Thresholds make sure you get meaningful alerts that are only triggered if the number of transactions that are experiencing the issue are above a configured minimum. Additional alerts can be for latency, expiry of certificates, failed configuration objects, utilization of CPU and memory, and more. Management of many virtual or physical data power gateways can become complex. DPOD can perform secure backups, export domains, upgrade the firmware level of a gateway, synchronize domains by exporting and importing them between gateways, and walk you through the process of replacing an old appliance with a new one. The maintenance plans can be scheduled and applied to any amount of gateways, while applying IBM's best practices, such as performing a quiesce or restarting the gateways for you when required. Roles may be applied to users and groups, so each user has access only to the data they are allowed to see. Users can be restricted to a subset of the data, such as specific catalogs, products, APIs, services, and more. It is also possible to determine who can see payloads, headers, log messages, gateway-level resources, etc. To summarize, DPOD has many unique features and brings great value. Faster resolution of issues, minimizing the loss caused by services outage to the business. Proactively preventing production issues before they affect the business using alerts. Allowing faster adoption of services and APIs in both production and non-production environments, by adopting a self-service approach for consumers and providers, using roles. Reducing the effort and human errors that might occur while maintaining virtual and physical data power appliances. And DPOD provides everything out of the box with almost zero maintenance efforts. Thank you.